Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I am so excited and honored today to be with the one and only Eden Sky from the 13 Moon Dreamspell calendar. Hello, Eden. How are you?
Hi, thank you, Meg. I'm so delighted to be here and share with you today.
Yes, I am absolutely delighted, and I was sharing it on my Telegram and social media. I've been following this calendar, and somehow we connected through social media. You messaged me, and I was like, oh my God, I know that name, Eden Sky, because I'm subscribed to the newsletter. I've been following the calendar. I was like, holy guacamole, I wonder if she would be interested in coming on my channel and talking about the calendar. And you so graciously said yes. So I'm so excited to get into this. I know many of you guys out there have maybe already heard of the 13 Moon Dreamspell calendar. And for many of you guys, this will be the first time you're hearing about it. So let us know in the chat if you've heard about the calendar before and you know what your galactic signature is. We've got Krista in the chat. It's her birthday today. She's a yellow rhythmic warrior. Happy galactic birthday, Krista. Love the yellow warriors, Eden? They really are like warriors out there, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yep. Literally. So cool. As you guys are going to see, there's different, we have different galactic signatures. We won't get too ahead of ourselves. First, we've got Sedona in the house. Hello, Sedona. Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Yellow cosmic seed. Very cool. So for those of you who don't know, Eden, Red Self-Existing Skywalker, is an internationally celebrated author, teacher, and activator of the new paradigm perceptions and practices to raise consciousness. For 30 years, Eden has dedicated herself to sharing the life-changing wisdom of galactic time. Very, very important. Since 1995, she has been the creatrix of the annual galactic calendars based on the teachings of Jose. How do you pronounce his last name, Eden? I always say it wrong.
Dr. Jose Arguelles.
Jose Arguelles. Thank you. So you studied directly under Jose Arguelles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, we're going to be getting into some of your background, Eden. What is the 13 Moon Dreamspell calendar? The new galactic new year that we've just stepped into, the year of the Yellow Resonant Seed, among other things I'm sure will just come up naturally. So just to share really briefly, I got into the Dreamspell calendar, I think in 2012 or 2013. An ex-boyfriend introduced me to it, actually, when I was working at a spiritual store called Akasha's Den in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. This guy came up to me. I was working with crystals in a store, and he said, "Are you a blue eagle?" He actually said that to me, Eden. He was like, "Are you a blue eagle?" And I was like, what the heck is this dude talking about? A blue eagle? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I follow this 13 Moon Dreamspell calendar. And as soon as I looked at you, I felt like you were a blue eagle. And then he looked it up on his phone somehow. Sure enough, I'm a blue overtone eagle. So that immediately intrigued me. And I was like, what the heck is this calendar? And as soon as I started to look into it and I read my galactic signature, started following the days, it resonated with me right from the beginning. I noticed increased synchronicities like crazy when I started following the calendar, and noticing other people's galactic signatures just made sense when you start to learn about the seals and the energies of the different days. So it helped me to navigate the days and people around me. So that's kind of how I got into it, and I've been following it ever since. Eden, do you want to give a little background on how you got into the calendar and a little bit of your journey so far for people seeing you just for the first time?
Sure. Yeah, so actually it kind of started for me when I was 15. It was the prelude to finding the calendar. I was a sophomore in high school, and it was very clear to me that my experience in public high school was a complete and total, utter waste of my time. I was a straight A student. I was very bright. But I was just like, this is just not, I'm not vibing with this. And I called my mom. We had a payphone in the school. And my mom's very unorthodox. And I called her and I was like, can I leave? Can I get out of here? And she was just like, yeah. And I was like, hallelujah. It was just a really clear, I've had many points in my life where there was just like a clear, almost like a divine instruction. And that was one of them for sure. It was just like, get out of high school. This is a waste of your time. So
Right.
I took about 6 months off, and then I enrolled in community college to complete my high school completion at college. That was a wonderful experience because now there's people of all ages. You can choose your schedule. You can, choose your own electives. I got to do all my English credit with creative writing, which was amazing. I was like, this is fantastic. So now I was about to graduate, high school at college, and I was about to turn 18. And I was like, okay, this is where you kind of like have like a path in life, and you have like a career or something. And I was like, okay. And I was like looking around me and like, what are other people doing? And, there was like people becoming dental hygienists. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, no, definitely not that. And just like I was in a place of just like, okay, like I don't know, what I'm supposed to do in this next chapter in
Mm.
my life. And so I started really praying very sincerely to the universe. And I just asked the universe, ongoingly, like, just give me something to care about, give me something to be passionate about, give me something that inspires me that I can
Mm.
put my life force into. Because I understood enough that it's like, our whole human experience is like, it is what we make of it. And it's like, okay, so what is mine to do? What am I, what's up? And it was really shortly after that, that the calendar found me. So I was 18 years old. And back at that point, and this is super old school. So if you wanted to share information with someone else, the best way to do it was to make Xerox copies. So you'd have your own piece of paper. You could have the information. Email had like not even like barely like didn't really exist back then. We certainly didn't have cell phones or websites or any of that. So I was with my friend, and I just happened to be in the car with him. He was driving to a Xerox place to pick up copies of something that a friend of his wanted to share with him. So I just happened to be with him, and I went inside to this copy place, and he's picking this thing up, and I'm just there, and I see it, and it's just this piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but it's covered in symbols and color patterns. And I'm just staring at it, and I started to feel this like experience inside myself, like my whole being was just lighting up from the inside,
Right.
in a way I'd never felt before. And I felt this like otherworldly connection, and I was like, what is this? And he was like,
Mm.
I don't know, it's some calendar we're supposed to follow. Do you want a copy? And I was like, yes. So he gives me a copy of this cryptic, thing. And it also came with a Xerox copy of an interview with Jose Arguelles. My
Mm.
friend's friend had already been following the calendar, and he wanted to share it with more people. So I was just
Right.
like literally at the right place at the right time. So I started reading this interview with Jose Arguelles, and it blew my mind because I had never heard the things he was talking about before in this article.
Mhm.
He was talking called change from mechanical time to natural time, and he was
Right.
talking about the importance of calendars and the way we relate to time, and how that directly affects our minds and our entire sense of reality and our entire lives. And this was a completely new thought. I was like, wait, what? And he
Right.
went on to explain he went on to explain the history of the Gregorian calendar, the one that tells us today is August 7th, 2025. He went on to explain the history of that, and he went on to he went on to share his revelation of what he called the artificial mechanical timing frequency versus the natural timing frequency. So his whole message to the world was that modern humanity lives under the spell of artificial time. But the thing is, we
Mm-hmm.
have no idea because we're just programmed and taught that this is what time is. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025. It's 3:11 p.m. And that's what time is. And as he says, the Gregorian calendar is the central, unquestioned dogma of modern civilization. And it really is. People are like, well, that's what time it is. And then people go, well, who cares? It's just the calendar. But what he
Right.
pointed out, based on his studies into the ancient Mayan calendar system and the mathematics of this system, he understood that this artificial time, this 12-month calendar and this 60-minute clock, was completely obscuring our connection to natural time. It was completely cutting us off from our experience of ourselves as nature, our connection to the living universe, and keeping us trapped in this totally man-made, artificial, irregular, unscientific, linear sense of time. That according to him has like stunted our telepathic abilities, stunted our ability to connect to our multidimensional self, and has kept us trapped in the third dimension, linear time, always in stress, never have enough time. And this whole paradigm that has taken over the world, where we equate time as money. And it's had disastrous effects on our biosphere and on our whole human culture. And I think at this point, it's gotten really, it's gotten very intense with the technosphere and the, which is a word he came up with, the technosphere of the artificial sheath that is on top of the biosphere. And it's just like, really accelerated right now. And so his point of his message was that we have the opportunity to awaken out of the spell of artificial time and reclaim our sovereign natural connection to the natural timing frequency of the universe. And this is actually a really simple thing to do. It just has to do with shifting your frequency into what he called the 1320, which is based on these very simple mathematical patterns of the sacred calendar. And it's actually a super simple thing to do.
Right.
So in any case, I read this article. It blew my mind. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I want to wake up out of the spell of artificial time. I want to wake up out of the cosmic amnesia. What's going on with this? And I just started studying everything there was, which was not very much at the time, everything I could. And the cool part of it is, at that point, it was really hard to get information about it. So the only thing I was actually aware of was the 13-day cycle. And I only had one code word for each day. And it's just a repeating 13-day cycle. And I just started following that. I was still going to college. I started following that. And it completely, totally, utterly changed my life to the point that I've been doing this for 30 years now. Because, what we don't think about, what we don't talk about, what is not common knowledge is how essential it is that we actually reclaim the power of 13. 13, many of you know, is the power of the divine feminine. It's the power of the spiral. It's the power of the higher dimensional force of circulation that keeps everything in perpetual movement and transcendence. And so, when we don't integrate the power of 13 and we stop everything at 12, there's this huge missing piece, the suppression of the feminine force of nature, the spiraling nature of existence. And when we reclaim the power of 13, we are in phase with nature, and understanding we live in a spiral galaxy. Everything in nature grows in unfolding spiral patterns of growth. We have spirals at the tips of our fingertips. Our DNA is in a spiral form. Our lives are not linear. Our souls are not linear. Nothing about existence is actually linear. So by
Right.
reclaiming the power of 13, we bring that spiraling force into our own consciousness, into our own minds, into our own perceptions. And it's a really
Mhm.
simple shift that affects everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's the 13 there.
Wow. So this is like, it's sounding like Eden destiny, if you will, that you are in the
Yeah.
position that you are now, and kind of you and your family. Does it resonate for me to say that you're like the stewards of this calendar at the moment? Would that be an appropriate thing to say?
I think we are certainly helping hold, this what I would call a lineage of cosmic harmony on planet
Yeah,
Earth. Um, so yeah, myself and my husband and my son, we've been making these calendars for 30 years, and you know, because we believe in it, because it's completely changed our lives, and it just, it's this simple shift that that opens us up to our multidimensional self, opens us up to magic, to telepathy. And it's just a simple thing that reharmonizes our own minds with the harmonic ratios of nature. And that shifts
hmm,
everything. And it's like I said, it's breaking the spell of artificial time. And so we're raising our frequency into resonance with that. And the whole point of it is, instead of the old paradigm, time is money, linear time, you never have enough time, you're constantly stressed out. Jose's message to the world was that time is art.
I
And
love
that's
that.
such a beautiful universal message. And it's a reminder that, our time is our creative life force. Um, and that we have
Mm,
the opportunity to create art out of our lives. And this doesn't have to be some particular art form as we normally think of art, but the art of how we show up for the moments in our lives, just by being present, just by being in our heart. And ultimately, the larger mission is to restore planet Earth to a living work of art, to the living masterpiece that she's here to be. But that is a product of each one of us showing up in that way.
for sure. And that's okay. You just said so many powerful things there. First of all, that this Gregorian calendar is a spell. 100%. That was
Yeah.
dark arts. That was 100% black magic. And I'm getting chills as I say this. And I really think that as we move forward, in the, uh, sidereal astrology, we also practice in Western astrology these greater astrological ages based on the precession of the equinox. As we enter that age of Aquarius, right? We're coming out of that spells. We're in the photon band. We're awakening, right? And they messed with our sacred time and rhythm to nature. And that saying that you also said there, Eden, time is money versus time is art. The Gregorian calendar, part of that, as I've heard you say before, was literally created not just to take us off of our natural connection, but literally to get us to start paying taxes, right? So it really comes down to money and that monetary connection, right? Did you want to add something in there?
Yeah. Yeah, and it comes down to control, also. And I think there's so much to say about the history of the Gregorian calendar, and the long list of historical atrocities. You could say a lot about that, but I
Yeah.
think just one thing for people to contemplate is, just to put it real simple. So on the Gregorian calendar, today is Thursday, August 7th. But
Right.
the Gregorian calendar is the calendar of the Roman Vatican Church. So why,
Mhm.
just a simple question, why do people all over planet Earth in all countries, of all cultures, of all religions, of all traditions, why do all of them utilize the calendar of the Roman Vatican Church in order to do anything in society, in order to participate in any way? Why is that? It's a very curious thing if one actually contemplates it. And I think there's plenty of people that might have issue with the Roman Vatican Church. They might go, whoa, wait a minute. So it's important to recognize that when we don't question this calendar and we just accept it as sort of the status quo dogma that it is, go, well, this is just time. When we don't question it, we are actually unconsciously giving our allegiance to this as a spell, as time. Oh, this is how it is, and we're not taking our sovereign power. So the point of shifting your frequency into the 1320 natural timing frequency, the point of that is to take your sovereign power. The whole point of this system is to empower each one of us to have our direct sovereign connection to the earth, to the universe, to the source, to our own, our own channel, our own clarity, our own frequency, and our own multidimensional connection. So once you start shifting the frequency into 1320, it just actually supports you to open up to the multi-dimensions of who you are. And it's so simple. People think it's like difficult. It's incredibly simple. Children actually understand it better because they're not intimidated by it. And they're just like, oh, look at those cool symbols. I'm going to draw those symbols. And so it's, these are exactly. So why don't you just keep it right there for a moment. So so this is the entire base of shifting your frequency into the 1320 out of the 1260 is literally exactly what she's got on this page right here. It's just the 13 tones of creation and then the 20 tribes of time. So what you see right there, the 1 through 13, there's the dot and bar code. It's actually very simple. That's how it's called the Galactic notation for how you write 1 through 13. And those 13 tones of creation, they represent the unfolding pattern of nature's growth in a spiral. And so very simply, every day is one of these 13 tones. And so, for example, today is tone 6, tomorrow is tone 7, and then it goes all the way through 13, then it starts again at 1. And we just do 1 through 13 over and over and over again. And just by doing that, we are literally in phase with the spiraling power of 13, and it shifts everything. And so each one of those tones, there's just really simple code words for each tone. You can even just take one word for the day and just contemplate. It's very, very, very simple. And then these glyphs here, these 20 tribes of time, or the 20 glyphs, same thing. We cycle through them over and over and over again. Every 20 days, we go through the same circuit of energies. And these are like archetypal portals for us to contemplate. They're like lenses into reality. And we go through them every 20 days, then we start all over again. So like you were saying, each day has a tone and a tribe. And then each person has a tone and a tribe. And then because there's 13 and there's 20, together you have 260 possibilities. And so we just cycle through these 13 and 20 all the way through 260, which is exactly right there. That's the 260 unit matrix. It's just showing the 13 tones and the 20 tribes. And then we start again every 260 days, and we just keep going and going and going. But it's, so the whole point is that ultimately this is called the Zulkan matrix right here. Ultimately, that Zulkan is representing all the different facets of our wholeness. And so each day we get to kind of contemplate and reactivate a different lens of our wholeness. And we just keep We just keep cycling through them, and it's totally interactive. There's not like a right or wrong way to do it. It's like, oh, what does this mean for me? How can this bring a little magic into my life? It's really meant to be, like I said, like you want to explore it like a child, like you're learning something new and you're just curious. And the calendar will completely reveal itself to you just by simple interaction with it. And less is often more because it's fractal. So if you get a little bit of something, it's going to lead you to the whole.
Right. And can I just mention, Eden, am I remembering correctly that when you get the calendar, isn't it at the beginning or the end of the calendar, there's actually write-ups of what each of the tones mean, what each of the day seals mean? Is that within the calendar, or am I thinking somewhere else?
Yeah, absolutely. So so this is the new calendar. So this is my 30th anniversary edition. And so this calendar that we've been creating, it's really just a living portal. It's totally interactive. It's totally simple. It actually has everything you need in it. So you don't actually have to read any books. You don't have to study any websites. You don't have to watch any videos. You can just immediately jump right into the calendar. So this explains what the 1320 frequency is. This talks about the energy of the year that we're now in. And then you're immediately in the calendar. And we feature awesome visionary art from all around the world.
Beautiful.
And you can just look at the see right there, Thursday, August 7th. It says Yellow Rhythmic Warrior. So that's a tone 6, and that's a yellow warrior tribe. So then in the back, we have all kinds of information about all the 13 tones.
Amazing.
And then we've got all kinds of information about the 20 tribes. And then you can even decode your birth date here in the calendar. So yeah, it's completely, it's all in here.
That's amazing. And the calendars are so good, you guys. Eden and her family and all the visionary artists put so much time. They're amazing calendars. You can check them out at 13moon.com. New calendar for every galactic year. I want to go back, Eden, to the Zulkan. Okay, because the Zulkan, based off of the ancient Mayan Zulkan, right? And Jose modernized it to the Dreamspell, the 13 moon Dreamspell. Can you speak a little bit around how did this get modernized? Because some of the seals are different now, right? Like wizard traditionally is jaguar, is that correct? Dragon would be crocodile, stuff like that. Can you speak to how he modernized it?
Yeah, I would love to. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's a really important point of clarification, that this Dreamspell calendar, what we call the Galactic calendar, it is a modern application of the ancient Mayan time science. So it is distinct from the traditional Maya calendar. And that was exactly what Jose Arguelles's mission was to offer modern humanity, people of all cultures, a pathway to reclaim their connection to the 1320 sacred essence of time. And his journey was very potent, and it actually began when he was 14 years old. He was his father, his Mexican father, took him and his twin brother to Teotihuacan, the pyramids, for the first time when he was 14 years old. So he grew up in Mexico when he was young, but then they had moved to Minnesota, and his father wanted to help them connect to their ancestral roots. So he took them to the pyramids in Teotihuacan, and Jose was so excited to go because he had seen the pyramids in these books, and he was already completely enamored by the Mesoamerican art and culture. So he got there. He was immediate as soon as he was standing there. I don't know if you've been to Teotihuacan, but it's pretty majestic. It's this huge pyramid complex city. So as soon as he got there, he was like, whoa, he was completely in awe of the architecture, and the whole vibration he felt like he was in holy ground. And he's 14 years old. So he ran up the steps of the Pyramid of the Sun. He was so excited to be there. And he stood on top of the Pyramid of the Sun. And he was just in this deep contemplation. He was like contrasting, where he was living in Rochester, Minnesota, versus where he was now standing. And he was filled with awe. And he found himself standing up there on top of the pyramid, asking himself, where were the masters who built these temples? Where did they go? And as soon as he asked that question, he had a really direct visionary experience, I think is the only way to really put it into words. So he asked this question, and then he immediately was filled with this white light emanating from inside of him that got stronger and stronger, to the point where, as he said in his biography, the whole earthly world fell away. And he, in that space, he was overcome with a willingness, a promise, a vow to find the knowledge of the masters who had built Teotihuacan and bring it back to modern humanity, so that maybe, just maybe, it would make everything cosmic again. So this was this experience when he was 14 years old, and that informed his entire life. And then there was all these really magical, auspicious, synchronized puzzle pieces that came to him in relationship to that vow. It was like he kept pulling on the thread of that, and pieces came to him. And it's a long journey that he went through. But the point is after all of his studies into the ancient Mayan calendar system, and then receiving very key pieces from Tony Shearer, who brought him these key pieces from a secret lineage of Oaxacan curanderas from Mexico. That's where he was shown the Zulkan, as you were showing it.
Right.
That's information that came to him, that he then went into a deep contemplation of the mathematics of that system. And he understood that these mathematics were representing the patterns of nature, were representing the unification of the microcosm and the macrocosm. And he understood that, and he kept traveling into the mathematics and decoding them. And one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And it's a long spiraling journey that he went through, to then it was very clear that he wanted to give these codes, this 1320 frequency, to modern humanity, because that was his original vow. But he understood in order to do that, he needed to universalize them. He wanted to make them as simple as possible. He wanted to make them universal so that people of all cultures could follow them. So that's why it's a totally distinct system from the traditional Maya calendar, which is very much connected to their culture, their lands, their beliefs, their spirituality, their religion, their customs. So they should be understood as distinct. And I think a really simple way to understand the coexistence of the two different systems. I think it's really similar to the two systems of astrology. You've got the Western astrology, or the sidereal, what I call Vedic astrology. You've got two different astrology systems. They're using the same symbol sets, but they have a different date correlation. And I think it's just a matter of which one you resonate with. I think that some people get really caught up in the dogma of this is right, this is wrong. I think there's always a higher dimensional way to see things and go, okay, there's many paths up the mountain. What do we resonate with? And ultimately, any of these systems are offering us lenses to look through, and, to develop more of our human potential, to awaken these dormant capacities in us. So I think that, it's very similar to astrology. If I look through the lens of Western astrology, there's all kinds of things that I can benefit by looking through that. I'm sure if I was inspired to look through the other astrology, I would find things that would be beneficial. So I think it's just a matter of what we resonate with, what we're drawn to. I think
Right.
it's not about right or wrong, and it doesn't have to be. And that's kind of an old paradigm way of looking at things. But it is important to distinguish things so that we understand what we're working with, and have respect for all the different paths.
Yeah, that was an amazing explanation, Eden. Thank you so much for doing that. I didn't know that. Stealth Artisan says, I just ordered the Galactic calendar. Awesome. Yeah, everyone, if it calls out to you, get yourself a copy of this Galactic calendar. It is such an amazing resource, and you will notice times start to change. You will start to change. Just to go back really briefly on the Gregorian calendar piece, I think I think time and the way we are connected to time is one of the biggest issues in our modern day. I think it's one of the most hidden, biggest issues, because when we're on this fake Gregorian calendar, it was completely mechanized and unnatural, right? We're not connected to the galactic energies, right? The natural cycles, nature. So we have the Zulkan, and we have our days, our wave spells every 13 days. And then we also have the galactic year that we're in, right? There's many different layers to it. One of the layers is the galactic year. So on July 26th, it's every July 26th, right, Eden, is the galactic
Yeah.
new year?
Mhm.
Yeah. So every July 26th is the Galactic New Year. So we just stepped into the Yellow Resonant Seed year. Now, I want to ask you about this. Before we get into that, could you speak on the day out of time? Something really cool that happens every July 25th. So there's what's really cool about the calendar is between the old year, the old galactic year, and the new galactic year, July 25th is the day out of time. Could you speak a little bit to what that is exactly?
Yeah, the day at a time it's a day that is celebrated globally as an international holiday by more than 90 countries around the world. So actually
Wow.
this whole Dreamspell galactic calendar system is activated by people in more than 90 countries. That's
Wow.
one of the things that's really beautiful about it too, is we're creating a telepathic web of connection as we invoke the days, using the symbols, the 1320 symbols, as we invoke, and as we say, today is Yellow Rhythmic Warrior, instead of saying today is Thursday, August 7th. There's people all
Mhm.
around the world who are also affirming that is Yellow Rhythmic Warrior, who are also looking through that lens, and spiraling in this higher frequency together. So the day out of time is this global holiday, and it is a day to take sacred pause. It's a day as much as possible to stop business as usual. And it's
Mm,
a day to try to us the opportunity to experience who we are, free of the artificial spell of time. So that's why, as
right.
much as possible, to if you can free yourself from the clock, if you can free yourself from your obligations, because it's an opportunity, something that we want to cultivate all the time. But who are we actually, just as planetary creatures, just as cosmic citizens, just alive at one with the heartbeat of creation, just here, being alive, um, showing up,
Mhm.
connecting hearts. It's very much about creating a telepathic planetary unification with all of us around the world, and celebrating the reality that time is art. And time
Yeah.
is art is, it applies always, but it's a really huge international focus on amplifying that reality. Time is art. And so it's like a reset. It's a good opportunity to look at your past galactic year, what you've been through, It's also celebrated as a day of universal forgiveness. And in preparation for the new year, which is always July 26th. So it's a sacred pause, a sacred reset.
And that day out of time, Eden, it's also when the sun rises over Sirius at the heliacal rising, right? So that,
Well, the heliacal rising of Sirius. Yeah, the heliacal rising of Sirius, it depends on what latitude you're at.
okay.
And so it's different depending on where you're at on the planet. It's always in that time period, late July, early August. So it's a connection point. It's a correspondence. The July 26th New Year is also from the ancient Mayan Chilambalam New Year, which is the Jaguar priests lineage of Mexico. And it's not the New Year that, for example, the Maya in Guatemala, they don't observe that cycle anymore, but that has the roots that Jose Arguelles was studying, that led to his threads, that he felt deeply, deeply guided to bring back this tradition in a modern form, again, in a modern form. And so on July 26th, we start a new galactic year. And then so there's a different set of codes. There's a different focus for each galactic year. And then it goes in a 52-year pattern. So we have a different focus every year for 52 years, and then it will reset. And so what's so beautiful about this system, and I think it's similar to astrology, like when we use, and I'm not very adept at astrology, I know just a little bit, but I think there's a lot of corollary, because when we're working with astrology, or this system, to me, what it's showing is that we want to decode our human existence. We want to be in phase with the larger cosmic forces at play. We want to understand the divine orchestration of what's happening. And we want to grow. To me, we're all here in Earth School, and this, each with our own custom curriculum of what our soul is learning. This is my cosmology. So I think people that are drawn to astrology or drawn to this system, we want to learn, we want to grow, we want to develop ourselves, we want to decode existence, we want to see the patterns of interconnectivity so that we can evolve. And so what's beautiful about this galactic time system is that instead of just, it's 2025, it's 2026, it's 2027, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, January, February, March, all of these labels that the Gregorian calendar gives us, they give us no meaning, no connection, no inspiration, no, synchronization with anything natural, with anything regular.
Right.
They really just keep us trapped in this time is money frequency. There's certainly no evolutionary insight for the day. And so with this system, I'm sure there is with astrology, I'm sure there's all kinds of things to look at to inspire you for the day. And this is similar in that. So every year has a different focus. Every month, every 28-day cycle has a different focus. Every 13 days has a different focus. Every day has a different focus. And you can just take one also. You don't have to do all at once. It's totally simple. You can just take one little thing. But so the energy of this year, as you were saying, that we started, is Yellow Resonant Seed. And so that has particular focus or particular codes that are now, that we're now in for this entire year, this entire 13-month spiral that we've now begun.
And before I ask you about that further, Eden, I'd like to just say the galactic affirmation out loud. I love the affirmations that are involved in this calendar. They are so, so powerful. There's an affirmation for everybody's galactic signature as well. And I'm seeing some of you guys asking in the live chat, where can you find out your galactic signature? So you can actually go to 13moon.com/decoder. It's on the 13 Moon website. Put in your birthday. You don't need your birth time, just your birthday. And here's an example. So I'm a blue overtone eagle, right? Born October 30th, 1992. That is, my tone is overtone, which is 5. My day is blue eagle. And then there's the galactic affirmation as well for that. And then there's also the wave spell, right, Eden? There's also other layers of that. But like you said, this is actually something really fun to get into. You don't have to worry about the wave spells at first. You don't have to worry about some of the other technical bits. Even just tuning into the tones and the seals of the days, even just doing that gets you in alignment with this calendar for sure. So for, yeah, so the galactic affirmation for our year is Kin 124. I channel in order to target, inspiring awareness. I seal the input of flowering. With the resonant tone of attunement, I am guided by the power of intelligence. Absolutely beautiful. And to me, Eden, the seed feels light. To me, the seed feels very light. It's filled with potential. It's filled with manifestation as well. How would you describe what we can expect or how we can work with this seed year that we're in?
Yeah. I think, like you were saying, I mean, all the, all of the metaphors for growing a garden apply to this
Mm-hmm.
seed energy, and this seed lens to look through for this year is such a reminder to us that each of us, we are seeds, we are encoded with our own divine gifts, with our own divine destiny. We are each uniquely encoded with our own soul's mission. But like a seed, like when you're wanting to grow anything, you have to give it supportive conditions and
Mm-hmm.
nurture its development. So that to me is the important reminder that this year is inviting us to grow, to tend to the gardens of our lives, to support ourselves in planting our seeds, tending to our seeds, giving ourselves supportive conditions, being patient with the growth. You can't force or contrive growth. Everything grows in its own natural timing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like with the garden, we have to weed things out. And I would say the most important thing, especially in modern humanity, we really need to weed out our entrainment to stress.
Mm-hmm.
Our nervous systems are so dialed for stress, and we are so it's so easy to, what I would say, go into that I call the default program of stress, of anxiety, and
Yeah.
then it can look like many things. It can look like fear, like controlling, like underdoing, overdoing, distraction, so many faces of stress. And if we don't pay attention and do the necessary inner work, before we know it, our whole life and all of the gifts inside of us are, are taken over by all these weeds of stress, and we've lost our way of how to flower and grow the beautiful divine gifts that actually want to emerge through us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important also, in addition to the seed energy, it's the resonant seed. So there was just half of the focus of the year is resonant, which means tone 7. And so the tone 7 corresponds to our central column inside our bodies. It's the central column right in front of our spines, where our 7 chakras are aligned. So the 7 chakras, central column, and this is our own sovereign channel to existence. And this is because the code words for this year are channel, attunement, inspiration. So it's very important also for us to continue to learn how to focus on connecting to our own sovereign channel, how to attune our channel, how to share our inspiration, and to continue to be discerning of resonance, of subtle frequencies, of subtle vibrations, to be aware of how are we affected by subtle energies in our environment, in our interactions, how are we affecting others through our subtle interactions. We are all resonant beings, and we need to keep doing the work to attune ourselves so we get the clear signal from our hearts, the clear signal from our souls, and to overwrite all of the static, all of the noise, all of the, if you think about all of the signals being broadcast in this modern moment from the 8 billion humans, versus meanwhile, there's also all of these signals being broadcast from the living earth, from the living universe, that we need to learn how to tune into, and really take responsibility for what I would say is where we're placing our attention, and what we are making real. It has a huge impact on how our garden grows and what our vibration is. And so one of my favorite quotes from Jose Arguelles is, whoever owns your mind owns your time. Own your own time and you will know your own mind. And to me, this quote has like 3 different layers to it. So one of them is pretty clear with the 1260 artificial timing frequency. Whoever owns your time owns your mind, right? So that's an important reminder to take your sovereignty back from the Roman Vatican calendar and the mechanical clock that is just programming us for the machine frequency. So own your own time and you will know your own mind. And what I would say, the way we own our own time is by owning the moment that we're in. And to me, that's about really simply owning where we are placing our attention. Our attention is our life force and it is our power. And so, whoever owns your time owns your mind. So we need to be more discerning, where are we putting our attention throughout the day? What is occupying us? What's coming into our field? If you're on the internet or you're on social media or you're doing whatever it is you're doing, to be discerning of that is inundating you, that where are you putting your attention? Is it healthy? Is it life affirming? Are you in balance with that? To own your own time, own your own moment, own your attention, because that's our life force. And the same goes for our inner world. Like if we are, inundated with stress and anxiety and fear, or, whatever these lower emotions that we all go through, to be aware of, okay, to be aware, oh, that's starting to happen. How can I support myself? How can I center myself? How can I come back to being present in the moment? Because our whole modern society is just one big display of how to distract us out of the present moment. And it's perfectly playing into the way our, egoic mind is already wired to not be in the present moment, do anything but the present moment. And now we have this, cacophony of distraction and noise every which way. So it's really even more important in these modern times for us to really exercise that discernment, and that owning our own time, owning our attention.
Definitely. Very, very well said. Sure. And people in their live chat are resonating as well and looking up their galactic signatures. So it's always so fun when you first learn your galactic signature and you get to know, oh, like I'm a Blue Eagle, you're a Red Skywalker, and you pay attention to who's around you as well. It'll make a lot of sense if you resonate to continue to follow with it. I'd love to ask you a few more questions, Eden. I want to be respectful of your time. I'd love to ask you as well, what are galactic activation portal days? And when we're looking at the Dreamspell Zulkan, are the galactic activation portal days the days in black?
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct. Yeah, so you can see that they're forming what looks like a DNA double helix binary crossover pattern, which is an important part of how we understand them. And then also there's 13. It's kind of difficult to explain verbally, But the entire Zulkan matrix that you're looking at is a map of what's called radiant mathematics. So this is a 2-dimensional representation of a 4th-dimensional matrix. And so the mathematics of it are radial. The linear flow is only one flow that's happening inside of this matrix. And so everything in this matrix, all 4 corners, all add up to 28. And then as you go in, I can't show you with my hands. There's 13 sets coming from the outside all the way in of the portals. There's 13 sets, and each one of those adds up to 28. And it's actually a mirror of the 13-month, 28-day calendar. It's just another amazing, magical pattern to the mathematics. And it's a invitation when we go through on the calendar, you'll come across these galactic activation portal days. And it means what it sounds like. It's a portal, it's an opening, it's a gateway, it's a doorway into how can you expand your consciousness, how can your insights be amplified. It's kind of something you have to experience and like decode for yourself and take notes, because that's the beautiful thing too. It's really interactive. And so you get to decode your own relationship to these codes. And speaking of, I wanted to just mention, thank you for reading the affirmation for the year. And so every day has a different galactic affirmation. Every person has a different galactic affirmation. And those are just really simple. Those are just the code words of the tone and the code words of the tribe combined. And just a reminder, they're meant to be experienced and felt. They're not meant to be analyzed with our rational mind and what does this mean. They're meant to be experienced and like traveled into and to just attune to. But it's again, these code words are just like simple words to just like travel into. Like today is the Yellow Warrior, and just one of the words is fearlessness. Okay, right. Fearlessness. Feel the fear, but don't let it stop you. And that's an opportunity of a lens to look through for today. And tomorrow is a totally different frequency, and every day is a totally different frequency. You can just choose one code word, connect to it, and just see how it reveals itself. But I wanted to say one more thing, if I may, about the new year that we're. So that's today exactly. So about the new year that we're in, the Yellow Resonant Seed. When I was contemplating, and we were in the middle of what we call opening the portal to create the new calendar. So it's my 30th anniversary, and several, many months before the new year, we open the portal and we start contemplating how the calendar wants to express itself, how it wants to communicate, what art wants to be in it. It's a very meditative process, and we tune into the intelligence of the calendar itself, of what is it asking. And in that process, I received a really clear message about this energy of the year that we're now in, this resonant seed. And we had my husband make the original art for me, and we made this sticker. And I'm really excited about it, and I want to share it with all of you, because to me, this is actually, so we have these on our website now. And I just want to say, to me, like everything else aside, this to me is the key and the most succinct way to understand the frequency of this year that we're in, of grow love, and all the things that means, and this universal message of goodwill, and to grow in love, grow of love, grow for love, grow in self-love, grow love in our communities, grow love in our families, grow love in the world. I think we can all agree that the world needs more love in all ways, and in kindness and patience and tolerance and respect and compassion, encouraging each other. So I just wanted to mention that, because I just feel, I feel like the calendar itself is like, hey, share this with people, inspire people. So if anyone's inspired to seed this in our collective culture and our consciousness, please go to our website, get these stickers, put them everywhere. I just think it made me so happy when this came to me, because it just applies universally.
That is so beautiful, Eden. And I'm hearing that song in my head, What the World Needs Now. You know that song? Love, sweet love. We do need that, totally. Murdoch says this, wow, yellow cosmic sun. Murdoch is a yellow cosmic sun. Says, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Murdoch. And Murdoch also, I saw you put in the comments earlier as well. So, ... without the Gregorian calendar, am I still a Scorpio? I've been getting lots of comments. I put out a video the other day, Eden, on the Lionsgate portal and some of my thoughts around that. And I got some people responding back like, wait, does this mean I'm not this sign? Because no, the Western zodiac is not connected to the Gregorian calendar. So stay tuned, you guys. I'm going to do a whole different video kind of clarifying that. So thank you for bringing that up, Murdoch.
The Gregorian calendar, it's just a way to measure and label the solar year. It's just the one that we've all kind of accepted as the consensus reality.
Right.
It's just a unnatural, artificial, unscientific way to measure and label the year, but that's what it is. And just to clarify, so in our calendar system, instead of the 12 Gregorian months, we have 13 months of 28 days, and they're correlated to the 13 tones of creation. So the first month is tone 1. And so everything about tone 1 corresponds to this 28-day cycle, and we're focusing on attracting our purpose. And then moon 2 is about the moon of challenge, and we go through the 13 tones. So the entire year is a spiral. So it's the same year cycle, just measured differently, named differently, to empower us, to inspire us.
Love that. And yeah, I also want to mention too that, I mentioned that I started my journey with this calendar. It was like 2012, 2013. And shortly after that, I became close friends with some people that are NIA instructors, NIA. Some of you guys have maybe heard, I love NIA, by the way. It's a conscious form of fitness developed by Debbie Rosas. And as I got more into NIA, I learned that NIA follows the Dreamspell calendar as well. So I can't go anywhere, Eden, without this calendar coming up and synchronizing with me. And even my instructor, my friend Brigitte, is so into it that sometimes we would do classes where we would wear the color of the day, right? So you have your red seal, your blue seal, your white, and she would say the galactic affirmation, and we would dance, getting chills as I say, as we would basically dance the day connected to the calendar. I've done that several times. So just want to give a shout out to Nia and Debbie. It's an amazing form of conscious fitness where it's your body's way of movement to dance practices. And I love that they incorporate the calendar as well. And they do, Nia, if you go to the website, there's classes all over the world. Last thing I just want to bring up with you, Eden, is I was listening to this podcast that you did with Debbie recently. I saw it on the website, the founder of NIA. And you guys were talking about, I never knew this before, that when you turn 52 years old, you have your galactic solar return. That is so cool, because that coincides with, in Western astrology, when we're in our 50s, we have our Saturn return when we get initiated into our elderhood. So I think it's so cool. Also in this calendar, you have that initiation as well. But you were talking about how it's actually the initiation into elderhood at 52, but also becoming a child again. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah,
do you want to?
Yeah, exactly. Also starting your second childhood simultaneously, which is such a cool way to think about it, being an elder and starting your second childhood simultaneously, because that's how long it takes, 52 years for the galactic Zulkan and the solar year to resynchronize. So over those 52 years, we go through every permutation of our galactic signature. And then on our birthday, on our 52nd birthday, our solar birthday and our galactic signature line back up again. So we're restarting all of the permutations, but at a higher level on the spiral. And yeah, I'm so glad you gave a shout out to Debbie. She helped me make my very first calendar 30 years ago, sat with me at the computer side by side, because we both fell in love with the calendar system, and much respect for her. She's just a total badass. And Nia is a really awesome new paradigm. It's like enlightened aerobics is kind of how I think about it, like new paradigm, mind, body, spirit. So yeah, she's a total badass. So.
Yeah, definitely. She is a total badass. And you guys, you can go get the new Galactic calendar. Lynn Marie is saying, where can I find this beautiful calendar? Well, you can go to 13moon.com. The new Galactic calendars are available there. And, I'd actually like to gift someone one of these calendars, a gift from me. So what I'd like to do is in the live chat, ask you guys a question. And whoever gets the answer first, I will ship out a calendar to one of you guys as a gift. And that question that I'm going to ask is, what seal is Eden? So what's the day in the calendar that Eden was born on? We mentioned it a couple times in the show. If anybody knows, you can say it in the live chat. Out of the 20 days, what day was Eden born on? Actually, I'll give two calendars away. What day is Eden born on, and what day am I born on? I'll give it to two different people. Margin says, red self-existing Skywalker. Are you you're self-existing, Eden?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Margin, you got it exact. Okay, amazing. So send me an email. If you go to my website, megmoonbeam.com, go to the contact form, tell me you're the winner. I'll send one out to you, Margin. And does anybody remember what Margin got it as well. Okay, MJ, you got it. MJ, okay, I'll send one out to you. Blue Overtone Eagle. Yay, thank you guys so much. And I'm so happy, Eden, that you've been so gracious with your time to come onto my channel. Thank you so, so much from the bottom of my heart for what you and your family do for keeping this calendar going, for continuing Jose's legacy. It is extremely, extremely, extremely meaningful. And I speak for myself and people all over the world that have been positively affected by this calendar, Galactic calendar, how important it is. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you guys go support Eden at 13moon.com. Get a copy of the new calendar and check out the website. The website is very, very informative as well.
And get a sticker, grow love.
Yeah, grow love, get a sticker. Awesome. And also you can go follow Eden if you'd like to on Instagram. Your username is Eden Sky. You are cosmic, and you're also on Facebook, Eden Sky, you are cosmic. Amazing. And I just want to give a little reminder, you guys, that I am going to be hosting a new updated Astrology Level 1 in person in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, next weekend, August 15th to 17th. And there are online streaming passes available. So you can go check that out at my website, megmoonbeam.com. Eden, again, where did you go there? Sorry, I just left for a second. Thank you so much again. And I look forward to maybe having you back on my channel. Again, I'd love to continue talking about the calendar and moving forward with it. And we're sending so much cosmic love out all your ways, everybody. And happy Galactic New Year. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Meg.